of course. But again, um, yeah, just part what, 32, I believe. We're just continuing carrying on with this. Funny enough, there's like a torrential downpour going on right now. So, it's something to where it's like, if shit, we're on the tail end of it. But I was gonna say, if anything crazy happens, like, power cuts out, right? Attributed to that. But besides that, right, just continuing carrying on with this whole, I'll be back in a sec. Sorry, I just had to take care of something. But we left off at a very, very kind of interesting point. We left off really looking at Randy's dilemma, right? The dilemma of his history with Kai going back, what they've done for each other, the trust they have in each other, and him, I'd say, just genuinely kind of believing in the cause, right? In terms of, the purpose of why Kai's doing what he's doing. And again, seeing his conversation with Sam and Sam kind of, confronting that, right? Especially given that Randy wasn't so on board with the, again, whole Charlotte incident, right? Or, the Michael incident, right? The second incident, given he wasn't that on board and was kind of questioning Kai at the time and Sam kind of confronted. But then not only that, just so happens that Sam, succumbing to whatever mental illness, right? Having an episode and Randy needed to take her to the nurse and like Victor like trying to like step in and be like, oh, we gotta let her die. Like, despite the fact that she probably wasn't gonna fucking die, just be someone else who pick her up. Like, and again, Victor just saying some like nonsense, right? Again, Victor and again, just the whole, oh, if one goes down, we all go down, right? Even though that's 100% not the case, but then the fact that, again, at least Victor acknowledges, they're in a pretty shaky position, right? But the problem is he's not doing what he needs to do to, again, resolve that, right? Which is tie up loose ends with Valerie and Bella, right? Those are the two people who can really kind of unravel what they did. But again, so just adding fuel to the fire in terms of Sam's or Randy's, kind of dilemma there, right? So again, right, and we ended off with Shiro and Yuri at the rooftop, and again, like, because the mod's trying to make it seem as though Adrian's being an asshole, and that, like, again, this is an issue of like self determination, which it is. But here's the thing, like, given Shiro has a god awful track record, even like before the incident, like, or before, what we learned about him, like he was not like a great person. So like Adrian's 100% correct to be, sort of cautious there, right? Or I guess what would you call it? To be sort of, what's the term? Again, to be weary there, right? Like I feel like it's what Adrian is was asking was more unreasonable, right? But I guess, kind of we'll see again. We're seeing the conversation between these two, right? Given again now Shiro's kind of integration into the club. So it'll be just interesting to see kind of what comes of this. So, but also like Shiro's not a fucking idiot, dude. Like, for as terrible of a human being he is, he's not a fucking idiot. Like, he knows Adrian's disdain towards him. He knows that Adrian probably communicated that towards Yuri, right? So yeah, no shit, Sherlock. Like, hold on, what did she say? You know, and again, Yuri, like, because, and this is what I talk about, and this is the strain tension in every single relationship, like underlying, at least in terms of everything, right? How do you balance, comfort with self determination, right? Yuri wants the self determination to be able to actually, be friends with Shiro, who she views kind of empathetic and sympathetic towards, versus Shiro ultimately not, or Adrian not being comfortable with Yuri being by Shiro, given his track record and what he knows about him. Again, so nefarious, bro. I hate how you use the word using the word nefarious unironically. Like, okay, Shiro says this, but I mean, all right, and because all right, now what's gonna happen is Yuri's about to trauma dump and vent to Shiro, which is gonna be all right. This is kind of crazy. Like, that's a bit out of left field. But I mean, because here's what I'll say, right? Obviously, Shiro's not gonna answer. the I feel like the reality, and I knew someone like Shiro, the closest he's probably been, and this isn't like me trying to flex because I'm in his same boat, right? Like the closest he's been is probably in with Charlotte, but I guess he just never viewed Charlotte in that light, despite the fact that like other people would look and see that, all right, they're pretty close. Like, and again, obviously it's relating to Adrian, not Shiro. It's not like Yuri's trying to slide, granted, Shiro thought something crazy was going to happen with Sam taking him to that one stairwell, but again, just the thing, and especially someone like Yuri, we know both Yuri and Adrian, this is first time, right? Which I mean makes sense given their characters. Yuri, like just who she is, and then Adrian apparently has some past history that we don't really know about. But again, just something to where like obviously she'll be apprehensive to answer this. Like, obviously he had his thing with Monica. Like that's a very horrible look. Like you can't really recover from that, right? So dude, listen, we're not getting into that. Listen, I'm gonna be honest. I never watched this show based on title alone. Like, you really need to. I feel like you have to like, and this isn't even making fun of like. This isn't even making fun of the people who actually watch it. This is more so making fun of the fucking people who made it and like produced it. Like when you name a show this way, like because it's not even like one of those typical like slice of life shows, right? Where it's like, all right, it's just some random title, but you get what the gist of what the show's about. But based on title alone for this fucking show, like, come on, dude. Like, the producers, they had to have known, like, all right, we're marketing this towards a very specific niche audience. But like, you have to be really into it for, to be like, to see this and be like, oh, yeah, sure, I'm gonna watch it. Like, I see this title and I'm like, all right, dude, like, if I get to a point to where I watch this, it's a rough patch in life. So I've never watched it, but it's like just based on title alone, I'm not watching this. Like, and again, it's Adrian, right? So, and it literally is. Like, I feel like Shiro's not a fucking idiot. Like, he probably knew that. Like, but it's again, here's the thing. I feel like this is a very reasonable thing for Adrian to ask of Yuri. Like, obviously, and this just comes because they're both like I guess new to this whole thing, but like again, I guess it's more of like a moral. Like Yuri just doesn't see what's wrong, with being friends with someone she's empathetic and sympathetic towards. Like a core theme of this mod that I've noticed is people do a horrible job of putting themselves in the shoes of others or just looking through their perspective. Like people, I don't think I can name a single person who's done a good. Okay, Sam did a really good job with Randy, to be fair, I will say, but Sam did a really good job of that with Randy. But like Yuri just seemingly cannot do that with, you know, she just can't, figure that out with fucking what would you call it? You know, with Adrian, she can't put herself in Adrian's shoes and understand why Adrian would be a bit adamant towards what would you call it? Hit adamant towards Shiro there, but hold on, I clicked the wrong button. I mean, even more so. Okay, to be fair, I thought this was gonna be like a cutting joke, but and again, like Shiro, you're a fucking dumbass, bro. Like they're still in her like she's not about to slide. Like, yeah, you fucking idiot. Like, I mean, and again, like we don't the thing is, and what's interesting, we don't really know much about Adrian. We know a lot about other people, but we don't really know much about him. We don't know his past. We don't know what he's been through. I mean, no shit, Sherlock, but also it's like Yuri's she's smart, right? But she's kind of being an idiot here. Like it just so happened that now Shiro has joined the club and is like an accepted member of it, and that puts him in proximity with Yuri. Like, because obviously there's probably other stuff going on behind the scenes, but you can still cough it up to Shiro alone, right? So Randy supposedly rushing Sam, I believe it personally though. And again, because and this is like honestly considering who it was about. Wait, what? About people's but also, and again, this is one of the things I really enjoyed about this is because you have such a large cast of characters, you have characters who are like there's like completely different stories going on at the same time, right? Like which you rarely see in other mods because it's normally all the characters involved in one. Maybe you have one sort of side quest. But like in this, we very casually had a very big plot and story point between Randy and Sam, right? And now we're having a pretty big plot and story point between Shiro and Yuri that are both kind of completely like aware or just like not connected, but they're both still pretty big because this seemingly decides a pretty big kind of makeup as well as section or like this decides kind of the stability of the club coming out of this, right? Because you got three, I guess two and a half members, on the line, right? And then again, obviously the whole Randy and Sam thing. Sure, if it occurred or again, Randy's motives, right? Because like, Randy, like Shiro views Randy as Kai's right hand man. So Randy doing that to Sam, who Shiro does know, right? Like Shiro does know Sam, right? Hmm. Neither Adrian nor Yuri did. Oh my god, I missed the fuck out of the trash. Hold on. Yeah, I missed the fuck out of the trash. But again, Shiro does. So it's interesting there, right? How he knows both of them more than, let's say, either Adrian or Yuri. So, and again, right? Because Randy's someone who we haven't really seen him do much, right? And Shiro is even like acknowledging it. It's like, he's not like Kai, right? So, and he wasn't even there. So, particularly a strong one, because Yuri doesn't really know either of them, right? It's like if there was something that happened between two people that like I don't really know, I'm like, all right, I mean, I don't really care, which but here's the thing, right? And I really feel like we need to get to know Agent's past. We need to kind of delve into his past, which is something we haven't really seen. But also like, Shiro, but listen, all right, dude, Shiro, come on. Like, and this is bro, Shiro never fucking learns, dude. Like, she's like, you say this, but she's still his girlfriend, right? You're not gonna like convince her by saying, like, oh yeah, he's a shitty person. I don't know why you fucking date him. Like, you know, like Shiro's an idiot. Like, but also like I think it's more so there's definitely something going on behind the scenes that we as the player don't know about that kind of drives this. But it's also like, you know, kind of Adrian is this way, but he's also realistic. Like I feel like people like he's being realistic in his assessions or what's the term? There's a red term for assessments of people, right? So okay, but also you're not like close to him and he hates you. So and again, so all right, Shiro says bullshit like this, you know. All right, bro, dude, I fucking hate this guy so goddamn much. Like, did he really just come up here to have this conversation? Also, I feel like this may give us the insight into Adrian we want, but every as each other last year. Oh, all right, you know, bruh, dude, that's crazy. All right, I'm not even gonna lie, this is pretty fucking crazy, bro. Like, this is like insane, dude. I'm actually worried for Adrian now because this is like, dude, this is like okay, all right, to be fair, all right, that's kind of a good move on the part of her. Though. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, the whole number thing, like that was pretty smooth on her end. Like, you know, yeah, that's shut the fuck up, Shiro. I hate this guy so goddamn much. But like, that was pretty smooth. Not, damn, that's crazy. Emotionally, all right. But you say that, but you're just making up some bullshit. Like it's the same thing when they ask Yuri, like, all right, what kind of like horn, and she just makes up some bullshit. Like that's what he's doing here. So first beat, I don't even know if these can I add after story? Let's see. It's about these four. Shut up, dude. Shut up with these references, bro. Like, it's messed me up a few days. Damn, that's crazy. It messed me up a few fucking years, the fact that I'm still playing this shit. Like, more of a fine print. Yeah, she actually fucking reads like dumbass. Let's see. Hey, don't play fucking branching paths, dude. There's this asshole named Shiro, bro. Like, you'd hate his character. and again, but and this is just also kind of the reality of things, right? Both Adrian and Yuri are horrible at expressing themselves. So, like, Adrian, I mean, he's talking to Yuri, right? Like, Adrian, to be fair, he told Yuri why he doesn't want him to go after Shiro. But it's also like it's not in a way that she can really understand, right? So, also, you're not, there's no way this mod's fucking going in this direction. Because there's no way this mod's fucking going this direction. Because here's the problem. What Adrian's asking of Yuri is very reasonable. Like, it's not like he's fucking asking her to like block off all her other friends. It's literally just Shiro given his track record. Like, that is a more than reasonable fucking thing. It's not like, oh, you can't have any guy friends or yada yada yada, right? I mean, Adrian literally has a fucking smoke buddy. Like, but it's literally just Shiro given his track record, which is a very reasonable thing to do. And it's not like he's rolling with Kai, right? I mean, he despises Kai too. So, like, that's all right. Shut the fuck up, sure. There's no way this mod's gonna go in this direction. Like, I refuse to believe it. First off, we already hate this dude Shiro. Like, we don't stand him here. We hate this dude Shiro. So, like, anything he says, chances are the opposite is true. Second off, again, like I said, what he asked of Yuri was very reasonable. Like, shut the fuck up. I fucking hate this guy so goddamn much. You are a horrible human being. You are not a fucking victim in any of this. Like, you are just a terrible fucking person. Asking your significant other, right, to not hang around someone who is a terrible influence is a more than reasonable fucking thing to do. Now, granted, if you're like, all right, you can't have any friends, I need you to block out, like, that would be pretty ridiculous. But, like, what Adrian is doing is very fucking reasonable, and this mod's not going to convince me otherwise. Like, this mod's done a horrible job of convincing me about anything so far. Like, I'm not convinced Shiro's a victim at all, and this isn't going to convince me that what Adrian is doing is the wrong thing. Like, what he's doing is very reasonable. Like that's all right, but Shiro says this, right? But ask Monica what happened between them, right? I mean, no shit, because Adrian doesn't care. Like, I feel like that's fucking, bro, there's no way it just so happened. Like, yeah, that's why I'm like, he's like, all right, but here's the thing. Yuri doesn't know Shiro like Adrian does. We've seen that. Obviously, she's becoming friends with him, but guess who else became friends with Shiro, right? Michael. And then Michael realized how much of an asshole Shiro was, and terrible person he was, right? That's part of why I left the club. You know, it's going to be the same cycle, Granted, it's not going to be because the mod's going to portray it as Adrian being controlling. But what Adrian is asking is very reasonable. I'm still going to stand by that. Like, because at the end of the day, it's not like Adrian's fixate on Shiro. It's more so his only request of Yuri is specifically just not to interact with Shiro. Like that's all he cares about. Like there's like nothing else. And again, that's a very reasonable request. So the fact that this is somehow being a big deal, just like, you know, but it's also like he despises Kai just as much. So what the fuck is she talking about, bro? And again, this is what I brought up when we first saw Yuri interact with Shiro, right? There is some level of empathy or sympathy because you can see kind of the similarities between their characters, right? Obviously, Yuri's is kind of due to her own character flaw. Shiro's, well, I guess they're both, Yuri's just kind of due to her personality, but Shiro's is due to just his own like bad decision making, right? So like but also, like, to be fair, Yuri was just that was her personality. Shiro brought it on himself. Like, but also it's like, here's the problem though, right? Because here's what's gonna happen. You know, Adrian is gonna this is going to be a breaking point. I feel like this is gonna be a breaking point for Yuri and Adrian. Because all Adrian cares about seemingly is just Yuri doesn't interact with Shiro. Like, not she doesn't even need to like block him or like, especially since they're in the same club. she doesn't even need to, like, completely, like, isolate him or completely ignore him, right? But she just, can't, like, engage with him, like, to a level to where they be considered friends. Basically, they can't be friends, right? Which I feel like is a very reasonable request. And this is like the one thing that Yuri seemingly cares about finding enough. So this is just going to be a breaking point in there. Granted, do I see Yuri and Shira ending up being a thing? No. But do I think this is going to cause tension, if not potential breakup for Yuri and Adrian? Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's just the reality. Like, he asked her to do one thing that she's doing right now. So it's like, or not to do one thing that she's doing, right? And again, it was a very reasonable ask from his end, but no, like, dude, Shiro, I hate Shiro so goddamn much. This dude needs to work on himself. Like, he needs to sit down, shut up, not be an asshole. Like, he needs to, I guess, now that he has the literature club, he just needs to be a member of that. And, when he's graduates high school, maybe he can try again, right? Shut the fuck up, dude. Like, bro, dude, I hate this man so goddamn much. Like, you're not gonna make me feel empathy or sympathy for this man. Like, he is not a victim in my eyes. Like, bruh, dude, I hate this man so goddamn much, bro. This man is literally fucking everywhere. But we know what's gonna happen. He's gonna give this to Adrian and start to cause again, ignite that tension and this is what I said, right? What Adrian asked of Yuri was very reasonable, and she just went and immediately did the opposite. So there's no real defending what Yuri did here, right? Like, obviously, it's going to take the same approach, like, oh, it's all Victor's fault because he showed him. But it's also like she's just did the one thing that he asked her not to do. But again, it's like, also, dude, Victor has his priorities way out of fucking order. He still hasn't tied up loose ends with Valerie, and Bella. Like, that's like the one thing he needs to do, and he's literally doing everything besides that. Bro, dude, oh my god, fucking Jeremy, Jesus Christ. So, what the hell is coming on? All right, this is interesting. This is very interesting. This is all right. This is a very interesting group of people to be having an interaction. Obviously, we know Jeremy at the end of the day is with Michael, right? And against Kai in this whole incident, right? Randy is kind of on the fence, and Victor is basically just, again, he's just an extension of Kai, right? He's kind of running the whole operation in his absence. So the interesting thing here is you kind of got three different parties from three different angles. Again, obviously, we know Jeremy kind of had and Kai that falling out. So Juicy Lee, damn, that's crazy. So and again, like he's like, yeah, I know it was you guys. You just need to fucking tell me. Like, yeah, dude, listen, Victor's a fucking idiot, dude. Like, I swear to God, Victor's a dumbass. Like, Victor, he didn't do the one thing he needed to do. And what he's gonna realize now is that Jeremy isn't on his side. Neither is Principal Rankin. So I mean, really, and I said about this during Randy's interaction with Sam, they don't need to admit to anything. All they need to do is just not, say that Kai did it. Like, they could just be, I don't know, fucking did it. It could have been some random person. Like, and again, like, and specifically because Jeremy asked, Kai to lay off of Michael. That's part of his deal for getting rid of the Enemy Club. So, and again, right? Like but Kai got his fucking ass handed to him. Yeah, Kai was a fucking dumbass. Like, you know, and also like Jeremy, because like for as much, because at the end of the day, right, Jeremy has done some shady shit. So he's again going from the angle of like, oh, it's like all of us type deal, right? If they get one of us, they get all of us, which 100% is not the case. I've said this. That is not the fucking case. That doesn't necessarily mean that. Like, that is a very flawed sort of perception, right? So bro, Victor, shut the fuck up, dude. Victor is such a fucking dumbass. Like, dude, like, Victor's such a fucking idiot, dude. Bro, dude. Oh my god. Like, dude, Victor gives like the worst time response. You know, But again, like this is just telling what Jeremy already knew that Kai did it. Like, yeah, like Victor's a fucking idiot. Like, and again, like now we're seeing this fallout between because obviously Kai got Jeremy elected, but we know they have a pretty stark, I'd say, differing view. Jeremy's kind of like Randy in the sense to where, they have a differing view or outlook on kind of what's acceptable for them to do, and Kai very clearly crossed that line. Even for Jeremy, or Jesus Christ, even for Randy, much more for Jeremy, right? We saw that conversation with Jeremy and Michael, you know. Dude, I fucking hate this guy, Victor. Dude, I hope Victor like gets his ass beat by the end of this, bro. Like, ask, yeah, Victor's a fucking idiot, dude. Like, yeah, and also again, I find this very interesting because we know from the angle of Randy is that like the fact that Kai never texted him is like, all right, what's going on? Like, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if I see some sort of alliance from Randy and Jeremy, right? Because Randy, like, again, between kind of, especially given now that Victor is kind of running the show and has autonomy, and Randy's kind of seeing the extent of really kind of the fallout as well as the just character of Victor. Like, yeah, that's why it's like, and Jeremy's like, all right, like, and again, right? Like Rankin, that's why it's like obviously like people like to dog on Rankin, but Rankin was being really fucking fair to the MC. Like he gave the MC the best deal he was gonna get. And again, that's why it's like Kai is not in a good position. Like Kai, like he's really not. Like if he wouldn't have fucking tried to like be like confront Michael, he'd be in a lot better of a position. But now that he's out of commission, in that it's this like whole debate. I'm like Jeremy's kind of, I feel like, a realist regarding the situation there, and I feel like Victor doesn't care. Randy's on the fence. Jeremy's like, all right, like Kai's a fucking dumbass for doing this. Like, yeah, dude, I fucking hate this guy, Victor so bad. Bro, Randy needs to fuck up Victor. Like, don't tell but also like we know Randy, but again, we know Randy's apprehension, right? So, dude, imagine we get a choice here because we have not had a choice this whole game. So, yeah, and obviously Victor is going to be pissed, but also like here's the thing, right? Victor, like, obviously he's kind of, Kai's like, I'd say second in command, right? But Randy's like and Victor's kind of the one running things. But at the end of the day, Randy's, Kai's right hand man, and he's the one who, where they go back and is friends with, right? And trust each other there. So I mean, I feel like all you need to take let's put it this way, right? Hey, are you gonna get a shot with fucking Victor and Kai like this? No, you ain't. You ain't getting a shot with Victor and Kai like this, right? It's only going to be Randy. So, again, right? So, obviously, Victor's going to rat on Randy. And I guess the question is whether Kai's going to do anything about it. But if Kai does something about it, all that's going to do is just cement, or I guess, what's the term? It's a self-fulfilling thing. If Kai does something to Randy about it, then it shows that he never really cared. But if he's more like, all right, man, what the hell? Like, and also like, because honestly, Jeremy's probably surprised because Jeremy like went to Randy because like, all right, Victor's being fucking useless, but he probably didn't actually expect Randy to say anything. So again, and Victor obviously kind of dumbfounded because I guess their whole thing is they're still trying to usurp Jeremy, right? But it's also like with this whole if one of us goes down, all of us goes down thing, right? Like they're like, I'm gonna be honest, Kai really fucked it up. Like he was, I'd say, in a position to take out Jeremy as well as everyone else involved, right? But he really even okay for as crazy as the whole picture thing was, it did do the job. But he immediately needed to tie up his loose ends and cover down on his base, right? Like not fucking try to fight Michael, especially like given we knew Michael beat his ass. But So now they're in a very exposed position. So the goal, or I'd say at this point, isn't even necessarily trying to usurp Jeremy anymore. It's just making sure this doesn't get out, right? So, and again, that's why I was like, and this is why I said, because the whole Kai thing, like, because Kai was saying like, "Oh, if I go down, we all go down." It's like that's not necessarily the case, and Randy's saying it here, like, "Yeah, it was only Kai, right?" So, Kai wanted to use Harrington. We're extra bodies. All right, but that's just kind of fucking all right. This is flawed logic. Like, I mean, I guess because here's the problem, right? I guess the idea is because they've done so much shady shit over time. If one of them goes down, they're just gonna immediately rat on everyone. But it's also like, as for specific incidents, that's not necessarily the case. But I guess just more in general. So, Picturegate, I hate how they call it Picturegate. And again, the poem fiasco, right? So, yeah, to be fair, like, I did say my thought was he was just gonna silence Charlotte and use her as a deterrent. Like, you know, so yeah, and that's why it's like, yeah, kind of, yeah, the school, like, obviously fucking Kai, like Kai's like a horrible track record too. Even Rankin himself admitted that, like, and that they're gonna, investigate him, right? So honestly, Jeremy's kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. Honestly, I really like Jeremy's character too, because he's someone who he seemingly wasn't going to be elected, like, and he had to kind of ally with Kai to get elected, but then it's also something where he has kind of his own outlook and perspective on how things could be, and he is willing to do shady shit to make it happen. But at the end of the day, he's still a good person. Like, he's not willing to completely cross boundaries like Kai did, right? He's not an end justifies the means kind of guy. So him again, and especially given, just the nature of their relationship and how he got elected, right? It seems like Jeremy's just trying to keep everything under control at this point. Like, he doesn't even have his own operation, right? I mean, part of the reason he wanted the anime club to die was just utility, right? It was like it was better that it fall given it like blow up, right? So let's see. Yeah, like this is what I said needed to happen. Well, Victor like didn't do the one thing he needed to do because Bella and Valerie can't unravel everything. Which again, I feel like Jeremy's not an idiot. He has to know someone else took the picture, as well as forged this thing, right? Similar to, Shiro. But again, like they just need to not fucking do anything stupid. Like, yeah, Jeremy's about to fuck him up, you know. It's amazing what yeah, dude. Hey, get his ass, Jeremy, bro. Fuck him up. I hate this man Victor so goddamn much. Dude, and 100% he has copies of that shit too. Obviously, we don't know what it is, but it's enough to make Victor, stay in line, right? So, bro, dismissed. Oh my god. Yeah, Victor's a fucking idiot, bro. Like, and what did he get his hands on? I guess I don't know what it would be. Maybe it's like I don't know. Like dude, Randy's like walk, walk, like big walk. All right, Rand or fucking Victor. Victor is such a dumbass, bro. Someone dies in school. That's not just fucking, water under the bridge, like swept under the rug. Like if someone fucking dies, like there's an investigation. Like that's not how that Victor has like Victor's such a dumbass, bro. I hope Victor gets his ass like beat. I hope he gets fucking destroyed in all this. Like Like, okay, cool. Someone dies in the school. There's an investigation. You dumbass. Like, yeah, dude. Like, bro, hey, fuck him up, dude. Randy would fuck Victor up, bro. Victor's like, I know, like some bullshit kung fu. Like, that ain't gonna help you, dog. Like, but we don't fucking, But also, I do find that. Here's what I will say. I do find that very interesting that Kai reached out to Victor instead of Randy. But I think part of the reason is maybe he does suspect, given Randy's kind of apprehension, right? That and the fact that Victor's kind of, the de facto one in charge of the operations. So, bitch, where the hell are we now? Like, and here's the thing we know what's going to happen. Victor's ultimately going to leak that to Adrian, right? So, yeah, damn, that's a pretty low bar. I hope you pass. That is such a low bar. Like, and again, here's the thing, right? And honestly, I think I'm gonna end this here because this is a pretty good point, stopping point. I like because the game's gonna try to portray it as Adrian being controlling. I feel like this is a very reasonable fucking ask. This is the only thing he's asked out of Yuri that we've seen so far. That Yuri just keep her distance from Shiro. Like it's not even that Shiro needs to not be a part of the club or that she needs to leave the club. Just to keep her distance from him. And I feel like that's a very reasonable ask given Shiro's track record as well as just kind of that like circle of unluckiness, right? This is a very reasonable request. I don't know why the mod's trying to portray it as not. And I feel like we're going to have this conversation between Yuri and Adrian, with Adrian eventually finding whatever pictures from Victor. But again, it'll just be interesting to see how that kind of plays out. I'm going to be honest, I don't see their relationship lasting. I feel like if Yuri's going to do the one thing that Adrian tells her not to, and even after they discuss it, like that's just not like, because let's put it this way: if I were in Adrian's shoes and I give Yuri a very reasonable request, like like of not kind of being close to someone who has a bad history and track record, and they immediately just did that, I'd be like, all right, this isn't gonna work out. Like if you can't do like if you can't do the one thing that I ask you not to do, like the one thing that I'm ultimately, not comfortable with you doing, and you just immediately go and do it, it's like, all right, well, this isn't gonna work out. Like, and again, like Adrian literally saved Shiro's life. Like you already told him to, and he did, right? So again, like maybe again, this is a conversation that needs to happen, but I hate to say it, I don't see their relationship lasting. If Yuri's really, and again, because the problem is nobody in this mod can put themselves in the perspective of our people. Yuri can't put herself in the perspective of Adrian here. Like she has that empathy and sympathy towards Shiro that's been long gone from me, right? At least what Michael initially had, so she doesn't really know who Shiro is just yet. But because she has that, and because she, views herself in a similar position, or I guess was in a similar position, right? Again, like she's willing to go against Adrian's wishes here, right? Which is again, like I don't know, like the mod tries to portray as Adrian and Shiro, but also like you don't listen to anything Shiro says. But I guess we'll see in the next one. So yep, that's it for this one. See you then.